Welcome back to the Untouchaballs podcast. Caden and Leo here. Caden, how you doing today?
Not too bad. What about you, Max?
Not too bad myself, Caden. Happy to be recording yet again another podcast. And of course, we got some great football games to talk about coming up this weekend. Let's hop right into it, Caden. We just finished watching Illinois versus Nebraska. Overtime thriller. What did you think of the game?
I thought both sides looked. Raiola probably played his best college game so far today. He looked really good. O-line kind of broke down at the end, getting him sacked a lot, but Illinois also looked good. As a team that I have an over on their win total this year, that's really good to see that they're able to beat these topper teams. And I only need them to get over 5.5 wins. They're already 4 now.
Yeah.
So, and I got that plus money. That should be great. Illinois looks like an actual, pretty good football team this year. Exactly. They look legit. And Nebraska's not bad either.
No. Yeah, we mentioned Nebraska, of course, obviously when they played Colorado, and they were able to go up 28-0 at the half. This Nebraska team's a good team, Caden.
Yeah.
Matt Rule's got himself a team. He's done it by building up the program, and pretty quickly as well. Of course, if you look at the time Matt Rule's been there, obviously he's been able to turn it around almost instantaneously.
Matt Rule's a great college coach. You saw what he did at Temple, at Baylor.
Yes.
Then he goes to the NFL. It seems like he's just kind of like built more for college.
And
he's able to rebuild these programs.
Let's also discuss, though, that he was in the Panthers organization.
That is very true.
With the turmoil we are now seeing going on, was it really Matt Rule's fault?
That is very true. The Panthers do just kind of look like a dumpster fire of an organization right now.
That's all going on. That's going to be interesting to note, Caden. We're going to have to keep our eyes on that, of course. But it's a tough loss for Nebraska. They're obviously 3-1 now.
Yep.
But I think there's still a lot of good things they'll take away from that.
Oh, yeah, and they're still looking good in the Big Ten.
Yes.
Those were two good opponents right there, and they fought. Nebraska looks good for the upper tier Big Ten opponents.
Yeah, and that's just, your typical Friday night college football matchup. 2 ranked teams put on a really fantastic game.
Great show.
Yeah. Just a really great, entertaining game, Ken. I think that's all we really have to say about that.
Yep, and now going into this weekend.
Going into this weekend, I guess, do you want to talk about Colorado first, Caden?
We can start with the CU game.
Let's start with CU homecoming, playing the Baylor Bears. Now back in the Big 12, a kind of rekindling old rivalry, if you would say, Caden. Of course, we know that Colorado left the Big 12 in 2010 and are now rejoining due to the
conference realignment.
Yes, Caden. But I think that this is going to be a defense-oriented game. I expect CU to start slow, as they have. Start the first 3 games. But I think it's going to be the halftime adjustments that are going to be the difference. And I have this very close game at 27-21. And the Buffs eking out one, maybe a missed extra point or a couple field goals I just see something happening, Caden, where it doesn't exactly line out to a solid 4 touchdowns. And Baylor's pretty stout in the second game.
And the odds makers agree. They think this is going to be a really close game. CU is favored by 1.5.
Yes.
I think I like CU in this game. I think they should be able to win. Baylor, ever since Matt Rule, we were talking about left, they haven't looked that good.
They have not.
And even this year, they have not looked like the Baylor we're used to seeing.
Which is weird, because then they played Utah pretty close as well.
Yeah, they played Utah.
So it's like...
They're interesting.
Which Baylor team are we to get tomorrow is kind of the wild card, I'd say.
It being in CU, though, I think helps.
Homecoming weekend?
It helps the Buffs a lot. Oh,
yes.
Yeah. Helps them a lot. They should, I think, be able to eat this out, cover that 1.5.
Definitely, Caden. Folsom environment, that crowd is going to white out theme, Caden. I think there's a lot to like. I think if Colorado's going to win this football game, they have to be able to run the football. Last week we saw Colorado, first time over 100 rushing yards this season. Came out with a dub with pretty soundly, multiple score, which we discussed. So I think if they want to duplicate the recipe for success, we need to be able to run the football.
I agree with that, yes. Then we have the Texas game against UL Monroe. Like we said earlier, Arch Manning's first career start, 44.5 point spread. Like last week, I probably won't play anything on this game, but Texas should be able to take care of business easily. It's going to be good to see Arch out there for a full game, see him control the offense, see what he can do with all the weapons he has around him, like Isaiah Bond downfield.
Well, not only that, Caden, you're giving Arch Manning a full week with the reps in practice. And it's a lot different getting those backup reps and kind of filling in second quarter and stuff than when you're the guy rolling into the week, knowing you're the guy. So I think last week's game is going to give Arch that confidence boost. Not that he needs one, because frankly he's been impressive every time he's touched the field. But again, Caden, I like Texas to absolutely demolish we've talked so much about what we love about their offensive line, that way that team's built. I think there's not too much more to add on that.
No. One more thing though. They're ranked number 1 for the first time since October of 2008.
That is one thing to add. That is one thing to add, of course, with the Texas Lions. But we'll have to see. Of course, hoping Quinn Ewers can continue to feel better and recover from his injury.
Agreed. And then also though, this Saturday we have 3 big ranked-on-ranked matchups. In the morning, we got USC at Michigan with USC minus 4.5. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, we saw Michigan look pretty rough.
Oh, yeah.
We discussed that game when they had their differences. But once again, Caden, you cannot underestimate Michigan in this matchup, especially playing against USC. Although I do like USC in this game, just based on the way the teams have played up to this point and the quarterback play in particular.
Agreed.
I don't trust Michigan in terms of offense right now. So I think USC will win. Although that line, I think Michigan could potentially come up.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the quarterback plays better. I think Riley Moss is actually a pretty good college quarterback right now. He's going to be able, I think, to find some holes, get down the field, score some points. I like USC to cover here. It should be a good matchup, though, to start our morning.
Definitely. A great morning game to kick off the weekend.
And then, though, getting into the afternoon, we got good old Utah at Oklahoma State. Big 12, 14 against 12.
This is a huge matchup for the Big 12, Caden. It's a big weekend for Big 12 football. I like Oklahoma State.
It's a 1-point spread
with the victory.
It's Utah by 1.
Yeah. I like Oklahoma State.
Agreed.
Of course, this is about as close to 50-50 as almost you'll see.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Dude, 2 great programs, 2 old-ass quarterbacks in their 7 years or whatever in college. But then, on that Oklahoma State side, you have probably the top running back in all of college and Ollie Gordon.
Yes.
Who should be able to have a pretty good day against this Utah defense.
Yes, honestly, and that's what's going to come down to, Caden, honestly, is which stars are going to show up between Utah and Oklahoma State. I think that will be the team that comes out with the victory. Who's going to make those extra plays? Because it's going to come down to a few plays, I think, personally, Caden.
No, I agree.
There's moments in this game, someone's going to have to go and win that football game.
And kind of back, also with the CU game. This game is being played at Oklahoma State.
Yes.
So I think helps Oklahoma State a lot, not having to go to Utah, playing that crowd. They get their own home crowd, have the ranked team come to them, and get a play at home.
Most definitely, Kate. I'm glad you brought up that point. Should be another electrifying game for our midday Saturday.
And then Saturday night, around when the CU and Texas games are starting, we have Tennessee traveling to Oklahoma. And the Volunteers, they're by 7.
Volunteers have been looking good this year, Caden. Of course, we know what they possess, being an SEC team. Going into Oklahoma, though, Caden, correct?
Also an SEC team.
Also an SEC team. But that is going to be a knockout, drag-out kind of football game. I'm excited to watch that.
Yeah, I like Tennessee's offense has looked really good so far this year. They're able to score with ease, put up a bunch of points.
Yes.
I think as long as they can get a couple stops here and there in Oklahoma, I feel like Tennessee should be able to handle their business tomorrow night.
I agree.
At Oklahoma.
I agree, Caden. I think the Volunteers have taken yet again another step up from what we saw last year with their program. And they got a pretty strong program the last few years. They've been progressively getting better and better. So I think this will be a big statement win for them.
It should be. They're ranked 6 right now. They win this game probably easily in the top 5 after this.
I agree, Caden. 100%.
Ready to go to NFL now, Max?
I'm ready to transition into NFL. Of course, we got to first begin by recapping your Patriots, Caden, who threw up a stinker on Thursday Night Football.
That was so for one, they didn't know how to tackle.
Couldn't tackle.
Couldn't block. Couldn't run. I mean, the blocking had made it so we couldn't run the ball. Couldn't do a play action to save our life.
Stevenson had about 23 yards.
Ramondre Stevenson got his finger stuck in a dude's face mask and missed like the entire second quarter. Dude, it was a bad game all around, by the way. Defense looked awful. He just kept finding Tyler Conklin over the middle, who was able to break like 3 tackles, gain like 15 more yards.
Truly a vintage Aaron Rodgers game.
Aaron Rodgers was getting those balls out quick and right on the money.
Yes. I think there was a lot to like if you were a Jets fan.
The Jets offense did look good.
It looked good. And of course, we can't say too much about the defensive performance of the Jets just because of
how bad the offense and how bad the O-line is. One thing I do want to say is Christian Gonzalez did great.
Yes.
Held Garrett Wilson only had 5 receptions, 33 yards. He didn't get that tutty.
Which was just a ridiculous throw.
It was great and a good catch.
Yeah, it was great.
It was just a good play.
It was just like, that's one of those plays where it's You just got
Yeah,
it's all right.
exactly.
Like, you don't hang your head.
No,
like,
no.
You just lost, right? It's okay.
And then, though, at the end of the game, they bring Drake May in for that last drive. I thought he actually looked pretty good.
Drake
He was
himself,
making, like,
yes.
he had that fourth down throw to Pop over the middle, game 22.
Yes.
He had that fourth down scramble along the left side.
But of course, that was the problem. Is he was always.
He was always pressured because the whole line is awful. One thing I don't really get, I saw this on Twitter. I'm not sure. When he got sacked right there, when it was like, first of all, why not call a timeout? There's still 12 seconds left. Just see if he can get in the end zone. Like, the game's over. Just see if he can find a way to get it in the end zone.
I don't hate that, Caden. I think that's good situational practice for your quarterback as well.
See what he can do when he gets by the goal line.
Yes, exactly. I think I agree with that. I would have liked to see them be able to potentially give him that opportunity to run the play. Because you already lost the game.
Yeah, it's
At
over.
this point, it's about developing.
See what he does.
Yes,
Exactly.
I completely agree with that. Moving on to another young team that's been developing, the Denver Broncos struggled. This first 2 weeks on offense, it's been bad.
Very.
Going on the road to a tough Tampa Bay team that seems to be all in behind Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
They're flowing. They're firing Caden. I just don't see this as a winnable game for the Denver Broncos.
I agree. The spread's 6. I think Tampa should be able to cover this pretty easily with the way Denver's offense looked this year. They haven't found a way to generate points at all.
Consistently at all.
Yeah.
It seems like the only time the offense is able to move in consistent basis is when it's garbage time. The defense is playing cover 2 high shell and just giving up the underneath.
Yeah, and other than that, they'll get in field goal range. That's what their offense has been doing.
It's like the defense can only hold for so long, and there's a breaking point.
Exactly. Yeah, if you keep going 3 and out, that defense is going to get very worn down.
Very worn down in the heat, on the coast. Typically, the Broncos historically have struggled on those East Coast games, especially 11 a.m. start.
11 a.m. in the heat.
In the heat. I think there's a lot going against Denver in this matchup, Caden. I think that's on the same.
It doesn't look good for them.
Doesn't look good.
It's okay, though, because in the afternoon, we have a great matchup. We have Baltimore, somehow 0-2 after losing to the Raiders.
Somehow 0-2.
Going to face the Cowboys, who got absolutely demolished by the Saints last week.
Both teams coming off bad losses. Either way you slice it, Ravens obviously
should have won that game.
The Raiders. Pull a Ravens choke job, which it seems like these games are just happen with the Ravens. Every year.
They let Gardner Minshew dice him up like those last 9-10 minutes. He was just driving down the field easily.
It was ridiculous, Caden. Baltimore, I think, is going to need to bounce back. Yeah, I think this is a must-win game for both teams early in the season. I think if Dallas loses this game,
falls to
1 and 2, it's gonna be some talks going on in Jerry's world.
There's always talks going in Jerry's
Always talks, but I think is this in Dallas?
It is in Dallas.
It is in Dallas.
At AT&T Stadium.
Yes.
Jerry's world.
So we know how successful that the Cowboys have been at home.
I
know
agree.
that. However, I do think John Harbaugh is going to be the deciding factor in this game. I trust the Ravens coaching staff
a lot more.
A million times more than I trust the Dallas Cowboys coaching staff can. So I think really this game is going to be won by coaching.
Agreed. I think the Ravens do come out victorious.
Yes.
They should be able to come in. I think it'll be a very close game. 1 possession the entire game. But the Ravens come out at the end.
Just the way the Cowboys were able to, the Saints, just what I watched that game. Yeah. Being able to be so successful, that defense, Michael Parsons, with the way Derek Carr got the ball, it was just a non-factor. Even when he was winning pass reps, the ball was gone so fast that he didn't even have an opportunity to be a factor. I think the Ravens need to mimic that game plan. Do not let Lamar hold on to the football. Design stuff, get the ball out, and lean on that running game.
Exactly, yeah. Lean on the running game. Get the ball out quick, so Michael Parsons becomes a non-factor. Attack him. And if there's pressure, just hope Lamar either gets out of the way or makes a smart decision to throw it away without.
Yeah, it should be an interesting matchup. Of course, the Cowboys' offense, I think, matches up pretty well against the Ravens' defense. I think CeeDee Lamb has the potential to have a pretty good game if Dak Prescott can find it.
If he can find it. We've seen Dak. We see how much he loves CeeDee.
Yes.
You know he's going to give him a bunch of targets. CeeDee, I can see having a good game. It depends with the Cowboys, man.
It really does.
It really depends with the Cowboys.
And I hate putting any kind of sort of trust in the Cowboys because we know Cowboys are to do Cowboy things.
Exactly.
Moving on to our Sunday night matchup, Caden. What you got?
This Sunday night matchup, we got the Kansas City Chiefs going to Atlanta to face Big Kirko and the Falcons.
We talked about the Chiefs. We thought they were going to take care of business more against
the
Bengals. I do think, based on what we've seen from Atlanta, Caden, that this will actually be
the Chiefs are not a better team.
Yes.
The Eagles should have won that game unless they didn't let a miracle drive by Kirk Cousins happen.
And that Eagle on that. I don't know.
That
was a game we discussed. It was going to be a defensive close game, and that was going to have the opportunity to win. And the Falcons did that. However, I just don't see the Falcons being able to compete with the Chiefs.
I don't think they'll be able to contain that offense too much. They're without Pacheco, so they're probably going to be throwing a little bit more, trying to push the ball downfield. If they can get past that, Falcons secondary.
I will say this though, Kate. If anyone knows insight on Patrick Mahomes, it's Justin Simmons. Picked off Mahomes
that is very true.
Any other person in this league, he's going to have insight to provide for the Falcons.
That is very true.
So do not sleep on the Falcons, Kate. Potentially upsetting Kansas City.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
I'm just saying.
I think the Chiefs do cover the 3, win this game, but I just don't know if the Falcons. Kirk, even with that drive, he's still missing throws. He still doesn't look 100%.
I see like a 24-7 kind of ball game with Chiefs winning.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Maybe 24-9.
A little safety thrown in there.
Or a couple field goals, 3 field goals.
Matt Judon with the safety.
Perhaps. We'll have to see. And of course, wrapping up and concluding our weekend of football, 2 Monday Night Football games, Caden.
I don't understand why they do this.
They're
going to have a game start at 5:30, now it'll start at 6:15.
Like, just
why?
Why?
Set one on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm just not sure.
The 2 Monday night things is always weird.
I've never been a fan of the 2 Monday Night Football things, okay? Just because as a viewer perspective.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want to watch 1 Monday Night Football.
But so we have the 2 games. Our earlier game is the Jaguars at the Bills.
Yes.
Where Buffalo's favored by 5.
Yeah, Caden, Jacksonville led a lot to be desired so far at the beginning of the season, and we've talked about it. Trevor Lawrence is one of those guys you said, kind of waiting for him to do something. I'm kind of waiting for the Jaguars to do something, Caden.
He hasn't won a game since last November.
Yeah.
He's like 1-9 in his last 10 starts. Trevor Lawrence has not looked good these last 6-7 months.
And I think the Bills, they've proved that they're a legit team this year.
Even with Tua in last week, they were still dominating that game against the Dolphins.
I like the Bills to win and cover easily.
Same. I'm with you 100% on that.
I think it's a pretty simple game.
It should. I think it should be, but
it's
a primetime game. Who knows?
Primetime game, of course. Obviously. But take us into our next match.
Yeah, the night game. We got rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels and the Commanders going to Cincy to face the Bengals.
This is an interesting matchup, Caden. I think that the Bengals should handedly beat the Commanders. But the way the Bengals
have been
playing, I'm not really too sure.
Because you look at it, I mean, the Commanders last week, they gave up 3 touchdowns to that Giants offense somehow. The only reason they won is because they had 7 field goals. They got in the red zone 7 times, found the end zone 0. They had to settle for a field goal every single time. You can't do that against the Bengals and expect to win a game.
Definitely can't do that, Caden. I think they're going to have to get at least 2 touchdowns offensively this week if they are going to beat Cincinnati. I just don't think that right now the Commanders are built to be able to beat the Bengals.
Especially as it's looking like T. Higgins is going to play on Monday.
Yes.
He'll have his first action of the year, help out Joe Burrow a little bit more, so he's more and T on the other side.
Yes, going to be a great addition, Caden. I'm glad you were able to bring that up. But other than that, Caden, a lot of fantastic matchups this weekend. Should be a great weekend of football. Any final thoughts, comments, questions, or concerns?
Like I said, I'm in the Fantasy Baseball Championship. I need you guys to root for me. It's a very close matchup right now.
Also, we mentioned last week that we were playing each other in fantasy. We got blown out. I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you all next time.